Okay, welcome to Cult Havoc number 2. This is a heart-to-heart video. Okay, so I do have 104 people here on YouTube. I have 400 and some change on Instagram, and I thank you all for giving me this opportunity to come into your house today. My Scarlet Spider suit is hanging up drying, or it's dry enough, but it's not going to happen tonight because of current events, and I'm a little angry. So I'm going to address two things tonight. So this heart-to-heart's going to be a part 2 and a part 1. So this is part 1. The first part of part 1 is about police brutality. Alright? I'm exceptionally angry that a young black man had got pummeled by 2 white police officers. Now I'm going to take race out of this for a minute. I'm not going to be as hypocritical as I usually am, because they're still holding this black man for outstanding warrants. Alright? You know, it's not revealed why the cops pulled them over or none of that shit. But the beating that this man took was uncalled for. And this is totally uncalled for and in front of his children. And as law enforcement officers, if you're watching, y'all can't say this shit is acceptable, man. This shit is unacceptable. And there's too many of these things happening, which is making it bad for other law enforcement officers. The good cops are getting blamed by the people for shit that the bad cops do. Now, I don't know if these cops were bad. I'm not Jesus, I can't judge them. But I can say this. When is enough enough? How many more people of color have to take raw beatdowns on the streets from the police? This is unacceptable. I am studying police science and criminal justice. I have no intention of getting involved in law enforcement at my age. Law enforcement game is a young man's game. You're in your 20s, your 30s, 18. Alright, you're up and coming. You're going to be ready for this shit. There's a lot of protests. Defund the police. Defund the police. Defund the police this. Defund the police that. How about re-educate the police? How about teaching them how to approach people? I made a video about this sometime last week. How you talk to someone, how you treat someone, affects everyone. If you're going to come up to me and you shine your badge and brandish your gun and start calling me boy, I'm going to be a little bit upset. If you come up to me, and yes, I'm going to use derogatives now, so I'm sorry. If you come up to me and you brandish your gun and say, hey nigger, or hey chief, I'm going to be pissed the fuck off. Because my name is James. It's not nigger, it's not chief, it's not half-breed. It's not, if you're dumb enough to come over here and fuck with me, you're going to die. Just putting that out there for whoever's out here with me. I will not hold back. I will destroy you. I did hear you. So unless you are a four-legged animal that belongs to Christ, you best turn direction. I apologize. I did hear something, so I put that warning out there. This plastic hula hoop ain't as dangerous, but it will be useful. Anyway, there's also a stick right there. If I can get to it before whatever's out here gets to me, I got a fighting chance. Anyway, how you approach people, how you speak to people, how you communicate with people. This is what the cops need to learn. Now, there is two sides to that coin. We don't know what the young black man said to the white officers to get them that irate, but even if he said something exceptionally dumb, he did not deserve the ass whooping of a lifetime. That was not called for. Now, you guys may think that was kind of a funny thing, and I was like, no, that was me being me, and he did get his ass beat some kind of bad, which is not cool. There's been a lot of cops beating on people of color. I watched another video earlier this week, last week, whenever, because today's only Monday, so whenever I watched it, there was a white incident with a black lady recording a white dude talking to the cops any way he want, leaving the scene of the crime, all kinds of shit. And I said, damn, That dude would have never got that far if he was a black dude. He wouldn't even be able to get back in his car. The officer specifically told the guy, get back in your car. Now, let's take race out of this shit. I ain't never. Maybe it's because we're in Virginia and our laws are a little bit tight. But I ain't never in my life seen the law have holes. That didn't fall the way I planned it. I was hoping that I could do this. That would be me representing the loophole. But that young man in that video drove off in his little freaking Volkswagen Golf. All he did was call the cops all kinds of bitch-ass niggas and all this shit, and he was a white dude. Black dude probably would have got killed. An Asian dude probably would have got killed. A Mexican dude probably would have got killed. And the black lady that was recording it said, this is white privilege at its best. Well, here's that thing, because I don't want race to be a factor in most of the things I do unless I'm calling out a racist incident. This was clearly a racist incident because those two white cops, again, gave this black guy the beating of his life. That kid, his son, that was watching this shit, will never trust cops for the rest of his life. Ever. Because he saw this as a child. He is completely and totally, unequivocally traumatized for the rest of his natural life. Now see, what you fail to understand is that it doesn't take much to traumatize a child. I know this. I have childhood trauma. I was forced to fight as a street fighter since I was 6 years old till I was 12 years old. So trust me when I tell you, I know childhood trauma. I didn't lose my father until 5 years ago, in my 40s. That's still traumatic, because no matter what happens when somebody dies, it gets lighter, it never gets easier. But to have your son watch you get beat down and proving to your child that parents are not superheroes. They may be our heroes, but they're not super. This kid, forever and a day from now on, for the rest of his life, will never, ever, ever trust cops, good or bad. Because he just seen two cops whoop his daddy's butt in front of him at 5 years old. He's never going to get past that. Cops come to school, they have a DARE program. He's not going to want to participate. He'll rebel just to have something to do. In fear. The infant won't get to see his dad because his dad's still locked up. One cop's been fired. The other cop hasn't been fired. So I guess the cop whose hand got bit is the one who wasn't fired. But the guy throwing the beating was the one that was fired. Here's the thing, man. None of that was necessary. And two, y'all gotta get this shit back straight up off of everything that I stand for. There is a camera everywhere. There is a camera everywhere. You know, when you think there's not a camera somewhere, there's probably a camera there. So you gotta be careful with everything you do. Everything you say, everywhere you go. I'm not trying to make you paranoid, I'm making your ass aware. I always think that I'm being watched. And it's not just because I was in the military and it was one of those things, you don't know who's watching you. That's one of the things they taught me in boot camp. You don't know who's watching you. You don't. But you need to be aware that there are cameras everywhere. How you doing, Team Taekwondo? God damn it, I can't make this thing wave. I don't know if that worked. But you have to understand, this 5-year-old kid watched his father get beat, yo. Get beat. And not just beat, pommeled. Not just pommeled, decimated. No kid should ever see that. Even if you are in the entertainment business, like wrestling or sports karate or anything that involves some mild violence, even if it's in a controlled area, it's not the place for children. You know, if you want your kids to watch karate or some shit, you set them over there and let them watch Power Rangers, VR Troopers, Kamen Rider. You know, something that is entertainment, this staged violence. But real violence, you don't ever let your kid get exposed to that. Not before they hit like 12 or 13 where they actually can understand some shit. Because fake violence My kung fu skills are better than yours. Kids can get down with that. But to see your parent get thrashed, trashed, smashed, and bashed at 5, no. No. That is fucked up. And that is really, really fucked up. This kid's going to have problems for the rest of his life. So I hope the city in which they were in are prepared to deal with that shit that they've caused. And I hope that the girlfriend, baby mom, sues the brakes off that police department. Because that was beyond excessive force. I'm going to stop this video for Kung Fu Havoc number 2. Instagram not going anywhere unless my phone dies. I'm going to part 2. In part 2, I'm going to flip the script on pretty much the same subject, just different. And forgive the hair. It was going to go in a ponytail, but I changed my mind.